Hello, my friends. We are going to continue our discussion on A Course in Miracles. And I'm going to read an excerpt from chapter 9. It's a little something that I highlighted from my reading this morning. As I mentioned before, I've been doing, at this point in my life, a very intuitive approach with the Course. I am doing the workbook all the way through, 365 lessons. This will be my second time through. Although the intervening years, um, I have done them intermittently, never starting at the beginning and going to the end, but as needed. Um, Opening the book, getting the whatever that lesson might be that what I open up to, generally seems to be the lesson that I need to learn, or relearn, or better yet, remember. But I felt the need to start over, lesson one, and work all the way through, and then taking an intuitive approach to the text, meaning I will scan through it early in the morning after my meditation time, and then where I stop, where I'm drawn to stop, that's what I read. And I do it in a very contemplative fashion. Don't read a whole lot. I read very slowly, and I let the words sink in deep, allowing the meaning to unfold. I liken this to one of the first formal meditation um, methods that I practiced, which was from Egnath Easwaran, his passage meditation, where he would suggest that we become what we meditate upon, and to take a classic prayer or spiritual passage, hence passage meditation, memorize it, close your eyes, relax, straight back chair, and then you think the prayer slowly. Each word dropping deeply and deeply and deeply inside our minds, inside our hearts, inside our souls, so that as a seed, they blossom through the course of our life. It's a very powerful way of meditation. And I try to take that same approach as when I'm reading from a course, or when I read from other spiritual texts that I'm fond of. This is one of them. I don't have this memorized. It is up on my big screen here. Your will is not the ego's, and that is why the ego is against you. Sounds like there's a dichotomy there, a split. My will and the ego's. But we generally think of ourselves as the ego, or the ego is an aspect of who we are. Here the Course is saying completely no, that my will, my true will, which is the will of God, always wanting what is best for me, always love. If it's not love, and we know the difference, we're not talking about affection, we are not talking about cherishing, we're talking about true unconditional love. That's God's will, and that's who we are. The ego is always out for the sake of the ego, for its own existence, and will often, most of the time, let's say all the time, put its own interest above who we truly are, above us. Because if we see who we truly are, we see through the ego. If we see through the ego, we see that it's fiction, and it no longer serves the purpose of maintaining its own existence. It's no longer needed. And without the ego, we are what we always are: pure, undulated spirit, unconditional love, without fear. The ego is fear. It's not fear-based. The ego is fear because it is afraid of losing its identity, losing its prestige, losing its power, which it doesn't have any of that. So it has to maintain an illusion, which takes an enormous amount of energy. If we even get a glimpse of life without the ego, we're free. So much energy has been released. We are so much happier. This is what the Course means, that we dream a happier dream before awakening. Seeing through the ego is dreaming a happier dream. Seeing through the ego, even in momentary glimpses, as it diminishes, as we forgive, as we extend ourselves in love and forgive our projections. Then the world that we perceive, which is a dream, illusory, real in its effects, or seeming effects, but illusory nonetheless. Those perceptions start to change, and we begin to dream a happier dream. Let me continue. What seems to be the fear of God is really the fear of your own reality. Our own reality is without ego. So obviously we will have a fear of God, and we will have a fear of reality. It is impossible to learn anything consistently in a state of panic. Think about that. Because we live a life of a low-level panic, low-level stress. Impossible to learn anything consistently. So we can't learn who we truly are, because we're always in that state of low-lying panic in which the ego keeps us. Diminish the ego, see through the ego as it starts to loosen its hold, or better yet, as we see through it more and more consistently, we are no longer in that state of panic, and we begin to learn who we truly are. That's why we practice forgiveness. It diminishes the ego. The ego only knows one way of forgiveness, and it's not true forgiveness. It is saying, I forgive you or the situation event because I'm a bigger person. That's what I'm all about. I forgive you. From my lofty place of love and kindliness, high up here, you down there, but I forgive you. If the purpose of this course is to help you remember what you are, and if you believe that what you are is fearful, then it must follow that you will not learn this course. You will not learn how to forgive. You will not learn how to extend yourself in love. Yet the reason for the course is that you do not know who you are. You think you're the ego. You think you're the narrator, the thoughts in your head. I do. We do. We all do. However, we're not. None of us are. That's what the course teaches. And it teaches it through forgiveness. The main message is forgiveness. True forgiveness. True forgiveness has nothing to do with me offering something to you. It has everything to do with me realizing that in this present moment, I can't hold a grievance from the past because it doesn't exist. Simply put, it does not exist. The Course says the one holy truth that one can say of the past, concerning the past, is that it's not here. Sort of a paraphrase of a quote, but I think we get the message across. The past is not here. That's forgiveness. That realization that the grudge, the resentment, the grievance that we are holding against someone is a thought based upon the past, which is not here. So why bring it back? And a lot of people might say we bring it back because we don't want that to happen again. But forgiving and knowing that what seems to have happened in the past isn't present now doesn't take away your discernment. Doesn't mean you're not wiser. In fact, it means that you're even wiser than you can imagine, because now you're basing everything on the present moment. And you gain the energy, you gain the resources that are available only in the present moment, but are blocked by the continuous focus on the past. And I believe it's lesson 7, but it could be 9, that says, I see only the past. Imagine that, I see only the past. And you might want to argue that, well, I'm looking at this cup. This cup isn't the past, but of course it is. For me to call it a cup means I'm thinking of the past. That's not wrong. It's good to have labels for certain things. If I want that cup and it's way over there and someone else is over there, it's very convenient to say, could you please hand me the cup? But I can also be free of the past. I can say cup without all the labels, connotations that go with a cup. Of course, a cup is just an example. Um, but we can do that with people as well. I can see you in your original innocence without all of the labels, the connotations, the mishaps, the mistakes, the everything, all the thoughts that I've ever based you upon. I can see you in innocence and let all that go. But I still have discernment. I'm still wise enough to know maybe I shouldn't lend you money. Or maybe whatever. You're not the person asked for to walk my dog when I go on vacation. Who knows? But you can love and you can see someone in their original innocence and still know what's best. It's not mutually exclusive. So that was from, what did I say? Chapter 9. And it's an amazing uh, little excerpt when I think about it more and more, which is why, beginning, your will is not the ego's, my will is God's. When I surrender, simply choose God's will and not my own, life is right. When it's wrong, it means I've been choosing my ego all along, consistently, based in fear. And my life projects that. You want something other? It's pretty easy. Forgive the illusion of those projections. Choose God's will, which is our will. So, all right, guys. Thank you.